Cause I do it all with a passion, passion, passion. Trying to get all I've imagined, imagined, imagined. I got that fire, that mad.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time being here with me, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about some cultural differences I have noticed since living in South Africa. To give you some background, I am from Philly in the US. I've been here in South Africa for about 5 years. I lived in a couple of different places throughout the country. In Harties, I've lived in Pretoria, I live in Joburg now, I've lived in Cape Town before. I've traveled to Durban, I've traveled to Port Elizabeth. I have family that's in Mafikeng. So I feel as though all of these experiences have given me some nice insight into the culture. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I noticed that's different culturally is the friendliness or mind state. In South Africa, I've learned about something called Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is the mindset that South Africans have. That is the belief that I am because you are. I believe it's instilled a great sense of community between people. I can give you some examples. It's common to just greet people, greet strangers. You say hello or sambonani or ache, because I'm Tswana. But yeah, you don't have to know someone. That's very different from my hometown in Philly. If you were to go around speaking to everyone, you would get either no response, a funny look, or someone might quite frankly just say, do I know you? You know, and it's so people just keep to themselves, you know, try to avoid tension. In fact, one of my cousins from here visited once in the US, and this was something that was really difficult for her to deal with when she would greet people that she encountered and they wouldn't respond because they don't know her. Another example I can think of, sometimes I see people's cars breaking down or having trouble. Within minutes, someone stops to help them, even if they don't know them. When this happens in the US, you get a completely different result. Like, people are gonna either not notice or they will notice and they're just gonna look and say, sorry for you, I'm busy, you know? Yeah, even when it comes to making friends or like networking and growing a community here, it's been a lot easier for me because people are just so open. So it's just a really warm and friendly environment for meeting people. And I really appreciate this Ubuntu. I hope I'm saying that right. The next difference is one of my favorites, and that's just how December holiday season is spent. In the US, if you're a student, you have about 2 weeks off from school. If you're in university, you have 1 month off from school. And if you're working, you have like a few days before the holiday period till like a few days after the new year to have time off. In South Africa, the time off is longer. I know some people who finish from the 1st of December, but even for those who don't, it's just something that happens mentally on the 1st of December when you're like, yes, Kirizemba boss, Kirizemba. Firstly, the weather is really warm. It's summertime here in South Africa instead of winter in the US. And the sun is shining, people are having braais, people are playing music, people are drinking, having a good time, being with family, being with friends. Even those who are still working usually work until the 10th, the latest 15th of December. And then it's just all about good vibes, you know. You can find a lot of fun things to do during this time, and everyone is in a even better mood, even friendlier than normal. So if you want to visit South Africa coming from another place, December is the best time to be here and experience the country. And then for me, I mean, I love December so much. I got married in December. You can see some Christmas decorations at the stores or in malls or around. You'll see, Christmas lights. You can go and take a picture with Santa Claus at the mall, the same as in the US. But in general, like, people don't decorate their homes outside, or not everyone does a Christmas tree inside and gifts and all that stuff. I do, because old habits die hard, but it's more about drawing and having time with family, having time with friends. It's just a really, really fun time, and I enjoy that aspect. I personally am very tired of snow and cold weather, so I mean, it's just everything. These type of Decembers are everything for me. Speaking of marriage, a very interesting marriage custom followed here in South Africa is called lobola. And lobola is a bride price that you give to the bride's family. It is meant to be a token of appreciation shown to the family for raising such a beautiful, wonderful person that is now going to be joined to this other family. Before you can give the lobola to another family, you have to send a letter of intention to the bride's family that you would like to have a meeting and discuss this marriage. Then there's negotiations, usually between the aunts and uncles. It's a little different from culture to culture. Yeah, once everyone agrees, everyone's happy with the terms, then you can pay your lobola and you can get married. This is, of course, a huge contrast between how marriages happen in the US. People are more individualistic. They don't see a marriage as a family group effort in the same way. So usually the couple will make a decision that they're going to get married. Sometimes in the US, you can ask the bride's father for permission to get married. I don't always hear of a lot of people doing that. Some people do. And the father is also responsible for paying for the entire wedding in the US. This doesn't always happen, but I've definitely seen it a number of times. That's pretty much it with the family involvement. But in South Africa, it's very, very family involved. Like, from the thought of getting married all the way through the process of getting married, even do your marriage. You can reach out to family for advice or call them in when you have an issue. Yeah, it's just very like this. And in the US, it's like this. For my own wedding, personally, there were like some aspects that I followed that were American and some aspects that I followed that were South African. South Africa, by the way, is very diverse. So I'm just speaking to like Black Africans' experience. I'm not really sure of other cultures, like when it comes to like Indian practices here, or even with white people. I'm not exactly sure of the ins and outs. But for Blacks people, whether you're Tswana, Pedi, Zulu, etc., they all follow the practice of lobola. I think it's very nice to show this token of appreciation. I have seen it prevent people from being able to get married. Let's say a family doesn't give an amount that is acceptable to the bride's family. This can prolong when you get married. I've heard of some people doing payment arrangements, but that later on holds the couple back from being able to buy a house and just do, the things that they need to do as a couple. So I'm kind of torn about it. I see it as a good thing, but then I see it as a bad thing when people just start trying to take advantage of other families. Yeah, but it's very unique. It's very beautiful cultural practice. So any Americans that are coming here, especially American men that are coming here, and you're feasting your eyes on a beautiful South African woman, have your lobola ready, okay? Yeah. All right. So the next two cultural differences I'm going to share with you guys really had an impact on me when I first moved here. I'm going to start with space. I don't even know how to categorize this, with just space. Okay. My hometown, especially in Philadelphia, it's really not a common practice to like get really close to people that you don't know, walk behind people, just invading people's space. In a lot of ways, this can be seen as a threat, you know. Philadelphia is a beautiful place, it's a wonderful place, but it's not the safest place. I've known of people who have been harmed. They've been stabbed, they've been shot, whatever, robbed, and it's because someone had access to get into their personal space and do this thing. So yeah, my common experience is to like keep people, you know, at a distance, so that I have the peace of mind that, you know, no one's about to do anything to me. Wow. The first place where I lived on my own, when I lived in Hearties, I was like staying with family. But when I went to live in Pretoria, I was kind of venturing out on my own, and we would just, you know, be doing normal things, going to stores, going to restaurants, you know. And I noticed every time when I'm standing in a line or I'm standing somewhere, especially if I'm standing in line, someone will come, like I'm standing here, they will stand right here in the line, and the next person will be there. Like people kind of huddle. And this was very alarming to me in the beginning. Like I spent a lot of time like clenching up my fists, being like holding my breath, like what's this person gonna do? What's this person trying to do? And no one was trying to do anything to me. Like nothing was happening. But in my head, I just had other thoughts, you know. Even when it comes to eye contact, or, you know, in the US, they're like, don't stare. It's rude to stare at people. It's impolite to stare at people. And when someone is staring at you, you immediately assume that it's either they have a problem with you, something's about to go wrong, etc. If you're staring at someone in the US, don't be surprised if they're like, what are you looking at? What's wrong with you? Here, people stare. People will just stare at you. People will just look at you. And I had to accept that it doesn't mean anything really, or it doesn't mean what I'm trying to associate it with negativity. Some people are just looking, maybe you're wearing something they like, maybe they like the way you look, maybe they're curious by something you're saying. It's not coming from a bad place, you know? And even though it's been so many years, I sometimes still get freaked out. Even last week I went somewhere, and when I walked in, it was just like, everyone was just like, it was at a restaurant. And then I just decided, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go eat somewhere else where it's less crowded. Like, because some days I can like deal with it and I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. Then other days I just can't. So there's those types of mannerisms when it comes to personal space, when it comes to looking, it's very different. If you're an American coming here, please don't be alarmed by people coming into your space or by people looking at you. No harm, no harm. Hope I've given you some insight on why, because those things are not really seen as green flags, they're red flags in the US. Okay? All right, I'm glad we clarified that. The second thing that blew me away was you need negotiating skills to be here, okay? I know how to negotiate. I worked as a realtor in the US and here in South Africa. I can negotiate, no problem. But what I didn't expect is to have to negotiate for almost everything. When I was, again, back in Pretoria, my starting ground, I had to go fix my phone. I kept dropping my phone, cracking it, and I found myself always going to these repair shops. Thankfully, I'd have like a friend with me or family with me whenever I would go. But the very first time, I remember the guy, he was like, okay, how much do you have? What do you want to do? Like, he wanted a starting point. And I'm like, why are you asking me that? Just tell me what the price is, and I'm assuming it's gonna be the best price, and let me go about my errands. I can't go back and forth with you. You want me to pull a number from where? In my response, I'm so sorry to this man. When I responded to him, he was just like, oh, these Americans, they're so blunt, they're so to the point. You know, he could even have interpreted as being rude, where I'm just like, no, buddy, let's just cut to the chase, you know. But then my friend and my family member helped me to negotiate. You know, we started with this number, then he said that number, then we said this number, and he said that number. We said, okay, throw in a phone case and throw in a screen protector, and then we can do it. When you're moving, like in the US, we just grab a U-Haul truck, grab a friend, we go on. Here, you can negotiate for a truck, you can negotiate for people to help you, you negotiate for this, negotiate for that. I mean, it's to the point where you even have to negotiate with police sometimes, okay? That's just, and I don't want to get into that. That's just negotiating everywhere you go, everywhere you go, everywhere you go, for lots of things. Not everything, not a grocery store, but if you go to a market, yeah. So you just have to be prepared to negotiate, be open to it. Don't be annoyed with it if you're coming from the US. And it's something I'm working on. I just needed help negotiating for some luggage that I was sending to the US. Like, I'm in an airport, I'm expecting these prices to be set in stone. I looked on the internet, they told me how much it's gonna be. But when I get there to the airport, they're like, no, let's negotiate. In the US, we don't negotiate as much. You go to a store, there's even a lot of stores that have the best price guarantee. Like, they don't expect you to find a better price. If you do, they will refund you. So I guess that's just my mindset, especially when I came in. I just expected, like, everyone's got the best deal, and like, please, I don't want to go back and forth. So I had to address that. Yeah, look at the time. Hey, Pator Madimo. I'm trying to say people of God. I don't think I said that. Pator Madimo. Anyway, I have exceeded the time that I wanted to for this video. I have so many other things that I have noticed and I want to share, but I don't want to keep you guys here all day long. But if you hit the like button and leave me some comments, you know, some kind of feedback for me to know that you enjoy this video and you want to know more of what I've been observing and seeing here, please let me know down below. Leave me a comment or hit the like button if you're shy. Then I'll have an indication to keep doing videos like this because, baby, I've seen a lot. Thank you so much if you watched all the way to the end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Like, I have like 300 and something subscribers, and that is so shocking to me because, yeah, when I started, I like didn't have a big following and I don't use social media. I'm not really like a social media type of person to generate a big following. So the fact that there are people just subscribing already, not knowing much about me, not knowing, you know, what's going on here on my channel, I really, really appreciate it. And if you want to join, you're not a subscriber, but you want to become a subscriber, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, hit the like. I'm going to keep saying, just like, so I can know what you guys think. Thank you, just thank you so much for your time, for your attention. And I hope to see you guys again soon in the next video.
Cause I do it all with a passion, passion, passion.